every step of government now will be seriously interrogated, even not only by the youth, even by everybody. They will just be looking at it because, and you will just be mindful of it that after the whole thing would have been done, so people will be pointed to 60-year-old men, 70-year-old women who are selling and the pepper soup seller at my village who have accessed the funds. And so that one is going to bring another round of protests. So I think the Honourable Minister has noted that. Insightful questions, but also your suggestions and some of the views. As the chairman said, I was scribbling, I was writing down quickly. The way we designed the NYIF, we looked at previous government programs, particularly under BOI. We saw that the level of uptake amongst our youth was often less than 21%, sometimes as low as 11, 12%. So we realized that because most of these loans were coming through the regular commercial banks, they are subjected to that tedious 10, 20, or 15-step process. So it became extremely difficult for our youth to access this fund. And that led us to come forward with the idea of a youth investment fund, which was designed in such a way that it's less cumbersome, is more accessible. It was benchmarked against similar funds from about 11 countries and the one done presently by AFDB. So what we have under the NYIF is totally different. This time the fund is coming directly from government, not from the bankers committee or the commercial banks. The cumbersome nature has been cut down to about 4 or 5-step process. It's the only loan in the country that is single-digit 5%. The lowest from the CBN, the lowest ever is 9%. This is 5%. A moratorium of 1 to 2 years. And for those that are informal businesses, they have 4 years to pay back. So when you look at those granular details, you see that this is totally different from what's obtained in the past. And we think that if our youth take advantage of this, more of them will be able to benefit from this fund. I wanted to put that out. It's our desire that we turn most of our youths who are now Sorosokes into Sorosile. Because the moment you get the fund you need, the alert hits your bank, you start an enterprise, you start creating wealth, you employ people, it becomes Masinu Masikum. It means that whatever money you make, whatever success, whatever is in your account, you keep it quiet to yourself. Nobody knows about it. We want to see that that happen amongst our youth. Yes, you know, it's just barely 4 months. Between July 22nd and now, we've moved extremely fast to make sure that the NYIF actually gets started. We worked through the technical committee and the steering committee of 4 ministers, and we've had several meetings. That's why we're at the point of application. In the past, it would take 8 months to get this started, but we just realized that there was an urgency on the part of government to meet the demands of our youth for entrepreneurship. But also, we're going to come back because we need a sustainable model built into NYIF. We're going to come back to you for legislation. So that, because when this administration leaves, it doesn't mean that the youth of this country will disappear. In fact, more and more people, as those that join the youth population, are more than those that drop off from the youth population. So we're going to come back for legislation, and that has been built into the memo and the policy that was approved by the government. I wanted to thank you so much because I think that I wrote that in capital, and I wrote Rejig the 2021 budget. With what has happened in the past 3.5 weeks, we presented our 2021 budget before the protest occurred. We had to go by the principle of the envelope. We're given an envelope. If your envelope is X amount, if you try to stuff more than that X amount into your envelope, the finance and budget will take it out and force you into the envelope. So you have a ceiling. But when we present what we need. We present the reality. And then they benchmark it against the financial reality of the country. So we are under the envelope regime, and that creates a bit of problem. Which is why in 2020, we put in something for the Nigerian Youth Parliament. And I thought it was finance that took it out, but I learned it was appropriation of the National Assembly that took it out and gave us zero. But we have assurances and support such that even for this year, 2021, next year, we have the assurances of the National Assembly that 800 million that has been put there for the Nigerian Youth Parliament. 80 million? 80 million. 80 million. 80 million. But I think, Chairman, okay, I will just round up now. Okay, so let me just, one or two things, then I can have the DJs contribute very quickly. Visibility, I agree with you in total, all that you said. There's a need for visibility. And in a very deliberate way. You know, the NYF is still new. And the fact that within 2 weeks of opening the portal, we got almost 1 million. 1.2 million precisely. Shows a level of visibility. But there are other aspects of visibility. It has flavors. And I think that we've taken your suggestion. We think that there are two main approaches to onboarding people for programs like this. When we look at the N-Power experience, first, we must use the digital platforms for those that can do it digitally. But also, we're looking at the analog approach, where we're going to have field officers. And in this case, we work with the representatives of the people, how we develop the field officers that will be our foot soldiers on the ground, going to the local government areas and the rest. Or we leverage on the NDE that's present in all the local government areas. You know, I know about audio money concept, but you just told me about the audio government concept. We'll try and make sure that this is not audio government concept. We'll make it visible. We'll make it very transparent. Finally, you know, in this entire process, I've heard so much from the youth about trust deficit. But, you know, there's a trust deficit on all sides. Because when we say 18 and 35 years should benefit, why should a Nigerian who is 50 years old try to go and apply for that fund? So that's trust deficit. So on both sides, we have to find a way to bridge the trust deficit. But we've also built in some things into the software. Because the BVN comes in. If you lie on your age, you can't lie on your BVN. So most people that apply and lie, they get a cancel mark, and they're complaining, and some will say, oh, I'm 36 years, I forgot. The moment your age is calculated, benchmarked against your BVN data, and you're above 35, you don't get enrolled for the NYF.
The framework with which it has been delivered, we had to work with NIGERIAN to ensure that we have a very quick takeoff, such that we will not need to create our own structures in this very short time, because that will have meant going through a lot of problems and we wouldn't have been able to kick off. So in the interim, what we're doing is working with the NIGERIAN apparatus, but a different portal, not what they have been working with. And the way that portal is designed is such that the moment you put in your BVN, that is why if you go back there, you will see that your BVN is required from the very onset. That was done deliberately, and we're working with the Bankers Committee and others to ensure that the moment your BVN clicks, if you're below 18, it throws out your application. It blocks you out. If you're above 35, it blocks you out. So just this morning, someone called me and said they have been trying, and they have tried severally. And I asked the person a simple question. I said, how old are you? And the person says 38. And I said, sorry, that's exactly why you cannot apply. Because the moment you put in your BVN, people didn't see this coming. But the moment your BVN goes in, it clicks with what they have because the bankers team have a central database that has everybody's bit. Now the CBN has access to that, and so it was easy for us to connect that. So the moment you do that, it means that the moment you're below 18, you can't apply. If you're above 35, you can't apply. So that is what is going on, and a lot of people are complaining. The truth is that the people complaining are the people that are not eligible by age. And the complaints are going to continue until they read the simple instructions that says you have to be between 18 and 35. That is number one. Number two, if you are between 18 and 35 and it throws you out, then it means one of two things. Number one, it means that you're already benefiting from one of the government interventions. Either you got the COVID-19 loan, or you got the AXMIS loan, or you have another form of intervention that is from this same government. And the moment your BVN goes in and it says you're already enjoying another loan, it also throws you out. And we need to make room for other Nigerians. And so we're deliberate in setting this up to ensure that we do not have multiple loans attached to just one person when we have myriads, such a large number of young men and women to cater for. So that also is going on, and we're hearing the complaints. But the fastest way for you to know that it is not true when they complain is get somebody that is within the age bracket to sit beside them and apply, and you'll see it will just take it, especially if the person